So, Lone Rider here, and something very alarming transpired on my way home from work that I just wanted to share because I think it's a reminder that other people may not be responsible, other people may not be careful, other people may not even be decent human beings, but it's on you to be. So I was driving in my car on US Route 22. I had to get into the right lane once the right lane appeared, because there wasn't a right lane up until near the light, to go straight through the light and then make a jug handle turn. Traffic light was red. I got into the right lane when it appeared, and then right there was a truck, a commercial flatbed tow truck, that just drifted out of lane at me. So I beat the horn, I hit the brakes, and it went like this. It was at that point I realized it was an unsignaled lane change. I thought he was just swerving, but I didn't want to get hit by it. However, it went down. So we ended up stopped at the light in the rightmost lane on US 22, him in front of me, me behind him. And the guy gets out of his car and starts screaming at me, "What's my problem?" I said, "My problem is you almost hit me. If you're going to, change lanes, you got to signal first. I mean, not for nothing." And then the guy starts getting belligerent and violent and threatening fisticuffs in the middle of the street. He wants me to get out of the car and like kung fu fight him in the middle of US Route 22 with cars whizzing by it, And I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, what's this guy's problem? But the irony was, it's bad enough you nearly hit somebody because you're breaking the law and you make an illegal lane change, an unsignaled lane change, to then threaten to pummel that person just because they happen to be there while you're breaking the law and you nearly hit them. It's like what is wrong with this guy? Road rages and things like that do occur, but most people, no matter how angry they may be at another road user for a wrong, legitimate or simply perceived, most people don't get out of the car and threaten to start criminal violence in the middle of the roadway. This was a very unusual thing. I've never had this happen before, where somebody breaks the law, does something illegal, nearly causes an accident for me, and then on top of it threatens violence against me because I happened to be there while they were doing something illegal with their vehicle, in this case a commercial truck. So the first thing is, he wasn't safe with what he was doing, but I managed to avoid it because I'm aware, and I realized, he shouldn't be doing that, but the point is, to stay where I am to try and make that point, I'm just going to get hit. So I hit the brakes, let him get in front of me. I was alongside him to the backside of his truck when he started to make his unsignaled illegal lane change. But I hit the brakes, let him get in front of me so I didn't get hit. That's right away. That's the first thing. So other people may not be careful. They may do something illegal or they may do something unsafe. You have to be safe. To just stubbornly insist, well, it's my right of way, he shouldn't be doing that, and then, boom. No, you want to try and avoid a collision, which I did. Now, the second thing is you also want to avoid ending up in criminal court or the hospital, right? And while it's very rare for somebody to jump out of their car and, again, challenge you to fisticuffs in the middle of, the U.S. highway with cars whizzing by, it does sometimes happen, as this indicates. And this individual, I don't know whether he was sober, maybe he was drunk, maybe he was on drugs, maybe he had mental issues. Most people don't go from, oh, I'm annoyed at that other driver, again, rightly or wrongly, to, I think I'll get out in the middle of the street and start a fight. So, I don't know what he was thinking. But the point is that I knew what I was thinking. And this person may have not been safe with his driving. He may have not been lucid in terms of thinking about the consequences of his actions, or he just didn't care. Right? Maybe he doesn't have anything else he ever wants to do with his life. Maybe he doesn't want to, have a family or have hobbies or just not be locked up or not have something on his record. Maybe he had a record, so he doesn't care. He's already got a criminal record. He can't pass background checks, so he doesn't care if he gets another offense. I honestly don't know. But what I'm thinking is, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I've never hurt anybody. I've never broken the law. I've never been arrested. I don't want to start now. I don't want to go from law-abiding citizen who's never been in trouble to gets arrested for brawling in the middle of US 22 because some moron nearly caused an accident and then challenged me to fisticuffs, and I was too immature and stupid and childish to say, no, I'm not going to get in a fist fight with you just so that you can, threaten to pummel me senseless or attempt to follow through on your threat to pummel me senseless because you're annoyed that I happened to be there while you were breaking the traffic laws and you nearly hit me. And, the lesson here is, if you get annoyed that somebody's beeping at you when you swerve out of lane at them, Just don't swerve out of lane at them and you'll be fine. Nobody will beep at you if you're not doing stupid stuff. But if you do swerve out of lane without a signal and nearly hit somebody, and they do beep at you, as people will do because no one wants to get hit, to then respond by challenging somebody to fisticuffs, there's something wrong with his medulla oblongata, right? But there was nothing wrong with mine. And I said to myself, you know what, this guy, he's being careless. I was careful. I avoided an accident. Now he's threatening criminal violence. Yes, I would use force to defend myself if I had to, but I don't have to. As long as I don't get out of the car, nothing happens. Right? The moment if I had reached for that door handle, all I had to do for this is to go from bad to worse, and one of us to get hurt or worse, or go to jail or get arrested. All I had to do was to open that door. And instead, I yelled at the guy, get back in your vehicle. And when he didn't, and he proceeded to, continue threatening me, I just drove away. I'm not going to get in fisticuffs with some lunatic. First of all, I could be hurt. I don't know if he's got a weapon on him. The guy's obviously got some issues mentally. But the important thing is that something like this happens, the adrenaline gets going. And especially if you're just minding your own business and the other person is instigating the whole thing. There's a tendency, well, I know I'm right, I'm going to get out and show him. No, you don't want to do that. Remember, you're the good guy. You're the good guy. You're the law-abiding citizen. Use force if you have to defend yourself, but if you do not have to, the important thing is to simply remove yourself from that situation. And that's what I did. And I drove off, and I left the guy standing there on his truck screaming after me. I don't know, for all I know, he's still standing there. But, it is difficult, especially once that adrenaline gets going. Somebody's actually physically threatening you. They're putting it on you like oh, and there's a tendency, again, I think it's hardwired into us as human beings to want to defend yourself, to want to fight. But the thing is, you don't necessarily have to fight. Right? You fight if you have to. If you don't have to, you don't. Because there's no upside. Something like this happens, somebody gets hurt, somebody gets arrested, right? Even if I don't get hurt, suppose, the other guy gets hurt. Well, then there's a risk. What if he turns around and tries to sue me? What if, I get charged with something? As stupid as that would be, since I'm just minding my own business and this is all on this person. From the moment he made the illegal lane change and nearly hit me with his truck, to him responding to that situation that he then created by threatening violence. And as has been pointed out, there is a legal precedent that you cannot start a physical confrontation and then claim self-defense. So, anything he did to me would be on him as violating the law. Anything that I did in defending myself would be legitimate self-defense. You can't nearly run somebody over, then get out of your car and threaten and attack them, and then turn around and say, well, I was just defending myself. He couldn't do that. But conceivably, a good lawyer, could finagle way into doing that. And there have been cases where people, in very clear-cut cases, let's say somebody breaks in your house, right, and you hit them or shoot them, they still turn around and try to sue. It may be frivolous, it may be bogus, it may have legally no standing, but you still have to defend yourself against that. And if the circumstances aren't clear, you could go to jail, one or both of you. And then, of course, there's a risk of getting hurt, right? Why should I put myself in a position of, fighting some lunatic in the middle of the street? For what? Because he's angry that he happened to do something illegal and nearly hit me? I mean, that's kind of his problem. I'm not going to put myself at risk of further harm by then getting into fisticuffs with him. Right? If I had to defend myself, I wouldn't fight him fair and square on even footing. I would pick up, a weapon, something lying around in the car, a wrench or something, or maybe even use the car itself, use the car door to knock him over and then get out of it, something. But I certainly wouldn't sit there and, duke it out in the street with him. Why should I put myself at risk and allow him an even chance to hurt me, since he's the one instigating the whole thing? But more to the point, if you don't have to fight, you don't fight. So I just left, right? I left. I got out of there. And afterwards, I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, did I do the right thing? Because this guy's going to go on and do that to somebody else and blah, blah, blah. And, but then I thought about it and I said, what? I'm not the cops, right? I'm not, I'm not the sheriff. I'm not, the Jedi. I'm not there to try and enforce the rules. I'm just there to live my life and mind my own business, which is what I was literally doing, minding my own business in terms of trying to get home when this occurred. yes, this guy is obviously going to walk away thinking he won the confrontation, whatever that means, because I didn't get out and get in fisticuffs with him. But the truth is, again, just like you could argue, he thinks he won the lane position contest because I moved out of the way of his truck when he made an illegal lane change. The thing is, he was breaking the law, and I was simply doing what I had to avoid getting in a collision. Right? I was exercising enough sense for both of us because he was being stupid. Same thing with the fistfight thing. Would it have felt good emotionally, the little 2-year-old inside, to get out there and say, yeah, I'm going to fight you? Yes, of course it would. But it wouldn't end well for anybody involved. There's no upside to that. If you don't have to use force to defend yourself, you don't do it, because it's not defense. It's just trying to bolster your ego at that point. And I'm going to be honest, as much as it bothers me that this person walks away thinking, oh, yeah, he won the confrontation, again, whatever that means, it's a meaningless thing, but, you know, and that he's probably going to go on and continue to do this, because he obviously didn't learn a lesson. He walked off thinking that he, you know, got the better of the encounter. He's going to continue to do this, and he will probably injure or kill somebody one of these days, which would make me feel very bad. But again, I'm not the police, I'm not the Jedi, it's not my job to enforce order in the galaxy. And, you know, my job is to get on with my life, right? And if you have to use force to defend yourself, you defend yourself. If you have any alternative, right? Like, it's one thing if someone breaks in your house. It's your house, right? You shouldn't have to leave. But if you're out in the street and you can go somewhere, go somewhere. And that's what I did. I just drove off and left his ass there. Now, I couldn't go anywhere until the lane opened up alongside me and I could go around his truck because he was physically detaining me. He had stopped the truck in front of me, and then he had gotten out of it, and, you know, it wasn't moving because there was nobody in the driver's seat. The driver was standing in the back of the truck, you know, threatening me. But once I could get out of there and traffic opened up on the left-hand side, I drove away and left him there. And that's the thing. You have to be the bigger person. You can. What would have been the upside to getting in fisticuffs with this guy? Absolutely nothing. Downside, you could get injured. You could get arrested. You get arrested, that's going to follow you for the rest of your life, right? Even if it's a minor charge, like causing a disturbance or you know, assault or something. And again, just because you're defending yourself doesn't mean you're not going to get arrested. That's going to be on your record. You know, you ever want to do anything where you have to pass a background check, that's going to show up. And again, this guy might not care if he goes to jail, loses his job. You know, he was driving a company truck with somebody else's name on it. So he wasn't obviously thinking about his job. He wasn't thinking about whether he goes to jail. He wasn't thinking about his physical safety. Just getting out of your car to hassle somebody on the side of a highway. And we weren't even on the side. We were in the lane, right? In the right lane. And he gets out of the car, which means he's getting out into the flow of traffic. Yes, it was stopped for the light momentarily, but it resumed. Right? This guy wasn't thinking. He obviously didn't care if he hurt me. He, you know, obviously didn't care if he got hurt or if he went to jail or had any consequences or lost his job or got sued. I had to have enough brains for both of us. And so I drove away and diffused the situation. And that's what you got to do. You got to say to yourself, there's no percentage to be gained by getting in a violent confrontation. Unfortunately, these things are rare. They don't happen often, right? You do have problems on the roadways, people doing illegal and dangerous things. It seldomly goes from them threatening you with their car to them actually getting out and then threatening you in terms of what we would conventionally think of as violence rather than negligence with the car, i.e. actually attacking somebody. Although I would argue you can use a car to attack. I mean, you know. But these things do sometimes happen, but it very rarely escalates to this point. And that's what was interesting about this. This was a case where it did escalate to that point. And the only thing keeping it from getting worse, from there being potentially lifelong repercussions for both of us, whether it was jail time, a lawsuit, injury, etc., was that I did not get out of the vehicle. Right? All I had to do, it's like those old westerns where, you know, the guys, like in a Louis L'Amour western or something like that, you know, the guy's in the saloon with the gun in his holster and the other guy starts hassling him, and he's like, I just realized all I had to do to die was drop my hand. Well, all I had to do for one of us to get hurt, maybe die, maybe go to jail, was reach for that door handle. And I'd like to think that, you know, the fact that I didn't, you know, just proves that, you know, you got to use your brains in a situation like this. Don't do something stupid. Don't be goaded into doing something stupid. Don't be like Marty McFly in Back to the Future. People going, hey, you chicken, and then you go out and you nearly get your ass killed. You know, my way of winning a situation like this, quote unquote, is to get on with my effing life. This guy, I don't know what he's going to do. He's probably going to end up in jail. Keeps doing this sort of thing. That's not my problem, right? again, I'm not the Jedi, I'm not the sheriff. I'm getting on with my business. But I thought it was worth talking about because these things, although it's rare that they result in an actual physical confrontation like this, sometimes they do, and you got to think ahead, like, what would I do in a situation? Because if you're not prepared for it, it's very easy to make a stupid call, and somebody gets hurt, or worse, or something bad happens that has repercussions for the rest of your life. So, be the bigger guy, be the smarter guy, use your brains, don't be a child. Because this isn't a schoolyard. People can get hurt, people can die, and people can get arrested. And you don't want any of that. Alright? So, yeah, defend yourself if you have to defend yourself. If you don't, it's not self-defense. It's just ego. And sometimes it's a bitter pill to say, I'm not going to risk my safety or somebody else's safety or legal consequences or whatever just for ego. Right? Because ego is a powerful thing. But you know what? It's not worth it. And in the long run, you win. This guy, he may end up in Rikers Island or something 10 years from now. Who knows? I know where I'm going, and it's not to jail. Because I'm living my life like a good moral person. I'll use force to defend myself if I have to. It's never come up, thank goodness. But I'm not going to get in a fist fight with some thug just because he's challenging my ego on the side of the roadway because he's mad that I happened to be there while he was breaking the traffic laws and he nearly hit me. So, be the smarter guy. Don't be the thug. Don't be that guy standing there on the side of the road trying to start kung fu fighting in the middle of US 22. Don't be that guy. Right? He's not only an asshole and a bully and a thug, but it's not going to end well for him. Right? Lone Rider out.